And good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2024 and the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Rickey Hampton with my great friends, Tree McDougal and Tim Turner. I hadn't seen you guys since last year, man. I just had to say it. I just had to say it. Welcome, welcome everybody out there tuning in on the African American Athlete YouTube page. Hope you had a great holiday season. Um, and guys, let's just jump right into it. It was a couple of great college football games last night on two ends of the spectrum. I think one, a defensive battle between Alabama and Michigan, and a shootout in game two of the semifinals, CFP semifinals with Washington and Texas. Washington winning that one 37-31, and Michigan prevailing 17-13 over the vaunted Alabama Crimson Tide. And Tim, as a SEC born and bred man just like me, I mean, should they just cancel the championship game with no SEC team in it?
It's been a while, I tell you. It's been since 2014 since the last time they had a championship game without somebody from the SEC in it. So, what is it, 10 years? Just about? Yeah, so every other decade, you got to let somebody else play with the toy. So that's what they did. So the last time, I think it was, I think it was Ohio State or Michigan in it back then, and it was I think it was a Pac-12 and a Big Ten matchup then too. So so Monday night in Houston at the stadium there, they're gonna have the championship game, and so y'all get ready to pull your coins together. I got a couple of extra bedrooms here in Atlanta, because next year's championship game will be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium here in Atlanta. So,
all right.
Y'all need to roll on down. We can, find a space at the World Congress Center, do some interviews, hang out, chill. It's quite a time. I was, I think 2016 they had it here, and it was just a great time. Alabama, that's the one where Alabama beat Georgia in overtime, and Saban went from Jalen Hurts to Tua, and Tua passed them into the championship. So, come on down, my people.
All right, I'm there.
I'm still trying to look up this 2014 championship game and who was in it. Ohio State beat Oregon.
There we go. See, it was Big Ten, Pac-12. There it was. Ohio State beating Oregon.
Yep, Ohio State beat Oregon back in 2014. And I think that was the first year. I think that was the first year of the college football playoff. But you know what, guys, we're talking about this game last night, Tree, and the Final Four. I still think the best team in the country is not even playing in it. And they kind of showed it over the weekend when Georgia destroyed Florida State 63-3.
Yeah, but a lot of Florida players are opted out. So, is that even, don't you think that has a big impact?
Yeah. But they were going to beat Florida State. They weren't going to beat them 63-6.
Well, no, maybe not that. Maybe not that badly. No. But
Tree, you're right. They did. But that speaks to a culture as well, because Georgia had players who, after the game, said, I'm out. They waited till the game was over. And so the Florida State people were so upset they were going to take their ball and go home because they were mad because they weren't in the Final Four. So a bunch of them left to get ready for the draft. A bunch of them transferred because they felt like they, being in Florida State, they weren't going to be respected. And, you can't blame them. But at the same time, don't be on my sideline wearing my clothes if you're not playing in the game. That's the thing that irks me. if you're not playing in the game, if you don't want to get up there and help your brothers, who you say is your brothers, help them win, why are you here? What's the we got people that can model jerseys elsewhere, and that's all they were doing was modeling jerseys and being a distraction.
I'm not sure how you really feel about it, Tim. Could you?
I'm all about the I'm like the old man. I mentioned it to somebody, and they told me to get off their lawn. So that was the deal. But I don't. If you say you're gone, be gone. That's my thing. And so, I can understand you want to protect your draft status and all of that good stuff. And some of you people have been getting some bad advice about getting drafted. So.
True, but I think it's not about team anymore. For some, maybe, but it seems more about, about me or the NIL money or whatever it is that they're trying to get to. And I think, with the portal, it's hard for me to keep up. I think I probably said it before. I can't tell you who's playing on what team,
right?
Because of they're constantly transferred. But what I do know for sure is that the Cheez-It had an awesome mascot, and so did the Pop-Tart Bowl. I don't know if you saw those mascots.
Bowl was awesome. That right there. I'm just trying to figure out why the Pop-Tart didn't scream as it put itself in the toaster. And then,
that was the highlight for me, the mascot. I love a mascot, just so
yeah. that was killer right there. Then it comes out, it goes into the toaster, it comes out as an edible Pop-Tart. You saw the players eating on it. It looked like some sort of weird cannibalism. But
so now I'm just there for the entertainment now because I can't keep up with who's playing.
But I tell you what, there's two things I learned at the Alabama game and Michigan State game. That his name is Kane. He bought a house out in the countryside. I learned that one.
Who?
It was this commercial that they kept playing over and over and over, and this woman singing about Kane who bought a house at the countryside. So
I got that.
Oh yeah,
I must have missed that.
I must have missed that one too.
No. I'm not going to sing it because it's like a Eartha Kitt sounding woman who did the commercial. So
I must have stepped away during the commercials or something. I don't remember that.
I was right there and I was glued and I was like, do they not have another sponsor for the Rose Bowl? Somebody, please. But back to the Georgia beatdown. Georgia had as many people who opted out and left, but the thing about it is their top people stayed, whereas Florida State's top people left. Selection committee got it right. Florida State was a juggernaut when their first string quarterback was in the game, when he was playing. But the last two games of the season, when they after he'd gotten hurt, they stank up the joint. And so you saw what happened when when the team is watered down. They were just, they're like Walmart Florida State. That's the kind of team that you had. It wasn't the real thing. You talk about these Walmart alumni, people buy the shirt, never went to the school. That's what I'm talking about. Like that's what Florida State looked like. A bunch of people just pulled something off the rack and said, "Come play with us on at the Orange Bowl." They didn't respect the bowl itself. It was a New Year's Six bowl. To me, those bowls are far more special than playing in the the Sun Bowl. What I forget what their that might have been the toasted, the frosted flake or whatever it was. The Pop-Tart Bowl. That was Orlando. Pop-Tart Bowl. Or some other, these other bowl games.
Before this went down, all those traditional all those bowls had been around for so long that even they had added some tradition. Even the Sun Bowl had become a decent, a good bowl game over the years. But now, like you said, Pop-Tart Bowl and
Cheez-It Bowl.
A hard part.
Yeah, because the dude, he got a Cheez-It bath. The dude had a cooler. Instead of getting doused with Gatorade, they doused it with a cooler full of Cheez-Its.
And, or how about the Duke's Mayo Bowl? And you doused it. Come on. But I want to play this from Kirby Smart, the great Georgia head coach, and because he has some thoughts about what's happening with these bowl games.
Fortunate that they, who has people, need to see what happened tonight, and they need to fix this. It needs to be fixed. It's very unfortunate that they, who has a good football team and a good football program, are in the position they're in. And everybody can say it's their fault and it's their own problem. All right? And everybody can say that we had our guys and they didn't have their guys. I can listen to all that. But college football has got to decide what they want. And I know things are changing. And I think things are going to change next year. And you know what? There's going to still be bowl games outside of those. People got to decide what they want and what they really want to get out of it. Because it's really unfortunate for those kids on that sideline that had to play in that game that didn't have their full arsenal. And it affected the game 100%.
You can't argue with that. That's the truth.
But like you said, it's changing, and it's going to continue to change. But is there a way to? Sometimes you can't go back to the way things are, or can you?
Well, you don't have to go back. I don't think it's to where it was. Although there was a suggestion, someone made a suggestion that you need to go ahead and not have people be able to transfer immediately like they used to back in the day. You used to have to sit out a year when you transfer. And our kid's not going to want to spend a year on the sideline when he could play. But it's good. He said talking about it changing next year. Yeah, next year, I don't think you'll have anywhere near the transfer portal stuff that you have this year. And that's because 12 teams are going to be next year. It expands from 4 to 12 teams. So you're going to have Florida State's going to be in. If it's this next next year was this year, Florida State would be in the playoffs. Georgia probably wouldn't in the playoffs. I think it's going to be like the NCAA basketball. Whereas if you're in a Power 5 conference, if you make the championship game of your conference, the winner and the runner-up are going to be in that final number. And we're talking about Power 5. I don't think there's Power 5 conference anymore. I think there's like 3. It's Big Ten, SEC, and ACC. So that's 6. That's half of them right there. That's 6 teams. And then you got the rest coming up in there. So next year, Georgia and Alabama would have been in there. And Florida State and Louisville would have been in there. And Michigan and Ohio State would have been in there. In Texas, and I don't know who they played, Oklahoma State, they'd be in there. So it's not going to be the same way. Then again, next year, those conferences expand to monstrous size because Texas and Oklahoma come to the SEC. And all those California schools go to the Big Ten. Right. And a couple of them go to the ACC. So it would be
a map or something.
So
what's that?
I'm gonna need a map or something.
Oh, yeah. Kids can't use that for geography. They just have to trust us.
So Michigan Michigan and Washington are both 14-0. They're going to play 15 games this year. Right. So the champion next year will play 17 games, a full NFL season.
Well, I don't know how that's going to work, but I tell you what, Michigan plays Washington on the regular schedule next year in the Big Ten. So This is just a precursor, which sounds crazy. Washington and Oregon being part of the Midwest.
If they're playing that many games, how they got time for school?
What's this about? School? Because essentially this tournament's going to happen during December. And what happens at schools during December?
Nothing.
Well, nothing after the first couple of weeks because that's when you got finals, right?
Yeah.
So when are they taking their finals? How are they going to arrange that? Because all these conference championship games for the big schools that first weekend of December. And then they start the playoffs immediately? Does it run through Christmas? Festivus? Hanukkah? Kwanzaa? What are they going to do?
Yeah. Well, they will make it work, man, because it is big monies. I hadn't seen the TV ratings from last night, but I'm sure with schools like Michigan and Alabama in it, that was going to draw monster ratings with the traditions and the following those two programs have. I'm sure those are going to be big numbers. And, Texas has that big following. Washington is out there. Funny thing, I just saw the movie The Boat about the University of Washington rowing team. And
How was that?
yeah, it actually is a great movie.
Okay.
And now their football team is in the championship game. I think I saw 2 black people in the whole movie.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That one, like, well, no brothers in that movie. Just like Hoosiers. They had to go back 50 years to find 5 white guys that can play basketball.
I'm not.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
It reminded me of Chariots of Fire when I saw
yeah.
the ads for it. I was like, I'm sure it's a good movie. What's in it for me?
Yeah, exactly. when I started a rowing team, I said, nope.
I'll take, and it's a good movie, but
If you like sports.
but when, we always look for ourselves in these spaces, and I
Right.
take that back because at the 36 Olympic Games, there is a line where they're being introduced where the rowing team meets Jesse Owens, and Jesse tells them, they say something to oh, you're Jesse Owens. He said, yeah, and they said, are you going to win? He's like, yeah. I'm
That
going to
split
run him
second.
into the ground. Huh?
That little split second
Yeah, that
in
was-
the film, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his one line in the film. And I'm sorry, I don't know how I got to that. But back to those
Washington, tangentially, Washington was part of the move, was a thing there.
Yeah.
but I want to talk some strategy here. The fourth down call, it was a fourth down call by Alabama from, what were they, 3-yard line?
3-yard line.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, a quarterback keeper right up the middle. I thought that was a poor choice from Saban. It seems like you would want to get Milrose out where he would have a couple of options.
From what I was hearing all day today, that was not supposed to be a quarterback keeper. And it's like there was some sort of play where they're going to try to crack going toward the end, but the defensive end for Michigan blew it up. Plus, there was a low snap, like the 3rd or 4th low snap that Milrose had during the game. So, I mean, that botched it. And, people were giving all these other rations. That's like, yeah, you could have done anything. Roll him out. Because, all day long, they could not go up in the middle of Michigan's defense. So what was that about? That was just crazy, playing to the strength. That's like a kid playing in traffic or something. So they could have rolled him out. They could have done a Tebow type thing, a jump pass, anything. You get 3 yards. You had some room. Try to play for a PI and get 4 more downs. Anything. But that wasn't supposed to be the play. And if I'm at center, that was the longest flight from from LA to Tuscaloosa, or to Birmingham. And because he affected the game more than the Michigan defense, because he kept throwing the ball on the ground and they had to try to, had to fall on it. Granted, we wouldn't be talking about any of this if we had any Alabama players who were faster than that kid who fumbled that punt on the 1-yard line in regulation. Because that kid right there was about to be the GOAT for the rest of his life. Number one for fielding that ball.
True. But he had a low snap, right? Didn't he have a low snap that he had to try to catch?
Alabama had back-to-back low snaps, and they were moving it at that time. That killed that drive. I think that was in the 3rd quarter when they really kind of took charge of the game in the 3rd quarter. And they had a drive where they were moving it, but they just stopped themselves. I think Nick said it after the game. We shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times with those bad snaps. But I think a product of some of that is that long layoff everybody gets.
A month off.
Yeah,
that kind of crushes them.
So
But
we
you know,
may
that
see
month
better
off,
football next year
they're going to play
because you
immediately.
won't have right.
But at the same time, the month off, you have people healing from injuries. The month off, you have a month off to plan. And Michigan's game plan was better than Georgia's against Alabama. Georgia was so terrified of Milroe running, they laid off of him. They didn't rush him. They only sent like 2 or 3 people waiting for him to do something. Michigan sent everybody at him. And he's a different cat. And you got when he's on his butt, the free world's on top of him. And they didn't worry about him running.
Yeah.
His legs really didn't hurt them as much as
that's it. The best team I've seen with my 2 eyes by far has been the University of Georgia, though.
Yeah.
That was
everybody
the
was saying, listen, that Georgia should have been in there. They're
They
better.
lost the whole game.
They beat Texas. They would have beat Alabama if they played them again. They beat Michigan. There was nobody up there. Washington would probably give them problems because Georgia's DBs are not that good, and Washington has outstanding passing. That kid, the quarterback,
Penix, oh my
Penix
God,
is
amazing.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything like it. That's what I kept thinking. It was so laser focused on how it landed exactly in the hands of his receivers.
You can't drop his passes. They are so.
No.
I am just hoping the Bears do not draft this guy.
They
I don't
ruin
want
him.
to see this guy 2 times a year over in Chicago. For the,
But then if
knowing the Bears, the good
Go ahead,
thing,
Ricky.
knowing the Bears, I am confident they will screw this number 1 pick up. So that's about the only thing I got going for me.
I think what I liked about him too is that, I kept at first I was like, what is he, like 26 now? But because he was transferred, so I'm thinking he's been around for a while. Just kind of, and then it just totally surprised me.
Right. But they're talking about him being a pocket passer for the sole reason he's had ACL surgery on both of his knees. And so he stays in the pocket. He's not like a scrambler type person. He runs.
But he can move. He still moves.
Yeah, he can still move, but he doesn't. It's not like he's these other cats who are running around there, are very mobile and that kind of thing. So he impressed. But then again, too, he's had some dog games this year during the regular season where he's really been too enamored with his arm and made some really bad passes. I mean, you're going to take the good with the bad. And he's somebody you would want, I want him down here if we don't get Russ. And I'm saying right now, I want Russell Wilson in Atlanta next year. Sierra's from here. Come on home, girl.
and I do want to get to some NFL because Tim, I lost in my league on the Falcons so many times this year because when I got a chance to see them when they came to Detroit early in the season, and I'm like, they're going to be okay, even though they lost that game to the Lions. I really thought they were a ascending team. They had these 2 good running backs, talent at the receiver position. It was going to be, could Ritter develop? And he showed, he's got some ability, but man, they've been pretty disappointing.
Everybody who's breathing has ability, Ricky.
True.
We all have ability.
I have ability, Tim.
You have ability. You have ability.
He has NFL capability.
Okay, capability.
Okay.
He's capable of throwing lots of interceptions and fumbles, which
Clearly,
is why
I'm wrong on that.
because it's like the Falcons will start him at quarterback this weekend, and lo and behold, if they beat the Saints this weekend, they'll be 8-9. And if Carolina can beat Tampa this weekend, on the strength of their schedules within the conference, the 8-9 Atlanta Falcons will win the division and host a playoff game. They have a 10% chance of being in the playoffs. I thought they were eliminated last weekend, but they are not. If they beat New Orleans, and Carolina somehow beats Tampa, and I understand that Baker Mayfield got beat up pretty badly against New Orleans. So we'll see.
That could happen. I did not know that.
It could happen. Then again, monkeys will fly. Yes,
Tree
it
is
could
not.
happen.
Keep hope alive.
But they're still in the playoff hunt. I'm going, really? In week 18, as stinky as they've been, they could have a losing record and make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which is an indictment on everybody in the division. So,
Well, it's a guy. Think about it. The guy just tackles Josh Dobbs. He's right there to make that tackle.
right.
They win that game. So,
Dude, they lost so many games. They lost 1 million games to people. I think 5 teams were eliminated from the playoffs last week, something like that. And the Falcons, no, 6 teams were eliminated last week. Falcons lost to 5 of them. Okay.
wow.
Do you remember?
Hmm?
I was going to say, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
I
go
didn't mean
ahead.
to cut you off. No, I was going to say, remember when the Falcons didn't want Lamar Jackson?
I sure do. We don't want Lamar Jackson. We want to
Don't
go
want
with,
none of
we
that.
try to get the dude Deshaun
Wow.
Watson and all his baggage and then blow that up and then, make Matt Ryan mad and make him leave. I don't care how bad our quarterback situation is. I don't want Matt Ryan back. I did not want him back. I will suffer with anything. They could put, 2 Chainz back there quarterback. I would deal with that. Or I will want Matt
Rapper 2
Ryan.
Chainz? The rapper 2 Chainz?
Yes,
The
the rapper 2 Chainz. He's got some athletic ability, from what I
Well, he's a
understand.
basketball player. I guess he could probably.
Oh, okay. That's what it is. Okay.
Why don't you just suit up, Tim? Why don't you just suit up?
Well, I would do that, but I've seen how big these people are.
You got time to work it out.
And I'm not as fast as I used to be. So I think I'd be caught several times over. But yeah, the playoffs are really interesting. And the NFL is interesting that you got those those type of scenarios coming up this weekend. But one of the scenarios is not a good one, is the one with Russ in Denver.
Yeah.
It's like I heard somebody listen this morning talking about the definition of extortion. Using somebody's money, making somebody do something for the sake of money and that kind of thing. It was a Webster's dictionary definition of it. It's pretty much what Denver said is like, look, you do this or you don't play.
Right.
What kind of, and then, the whole thing all year long with Peyton and how he's responded and acted with Russell Wilson. And the guy's shown nothing but class through this. He doesn't look like the bad guy. Peyton does. And I'm thinking like, pardon me?
Just disrespectful.
Absolutely it was. It has been all year long. I never saw him scream at Drew Brees on the sideline, and Drew Brees was not perfect.
Nobody.
No, never saw him scream at anybody like he did Russell. And he came in there to show he was the man from day one. And that was, his whole vibe this whole year has really been irritating in that regard. A pox on the house of the Broncos, their ownership, everybody over there for that kind of nonsense, because it's unseemly, and that you see what the NFL Players Association has gotten involved in it. And I'm thinking, this is like people are gonna start saying, free agents, you don't want to go to Denver if that guy's still the head of the running your program, because he's
I
going
don't
to.
think that coach ever wanted him. I don't think that coach wanted Russ, right?
It doesn't seem like that. It doesn't seem like that at all. It's
He
like
didn't bring him in.
Well, but when he took the job, he knew who the quarterback was, and he knew the commitment that the organization had made to him. Let me just read part of this letter. In November, this is from CBS Sports. A November 4th letter issued by the NFL Players Association to both the Broncos and the league office reiterates claims from Wilson's camp that team brass informed Mr. Wilson and his agent that if Mr. Wilson would not renegotiate his contract to relinquish certain salary guarantees, the Broncos remove him from the starting lineup. So if you're in that Broncos locker room, Russell Wilson, if you're a player, you pissed because even in the last week, they're still in the playoff hunt.
Right.
And you benching this dude over some money and going with some kid over a former Super Bowl champion and one of the top quarterbacks in the league who has played. I mean, he's played good this year. Statistically, He's not the Russell of old, but he's better than anybody else in that locker room.
Absolutely.
So
Like I said,
how
I want him
do
here.
they look at that?
People trying to say he's old. Come on, bring your old self down here. Because if we'd have a different offense, we wouldn't have lost those 5 games to those stink teams if Russell Wilson was quarterback. Put it that way. Irrespective of the bad coaching job that we have here, he would have overcome that with his ability.
Is Smith going to keep his job?
It depends. You know,
That's right. They might win the damn
that's what I'm saying. You just be in a situation of rooting against my team, against the team I hate more than anybody in the NFL, the Saints. It puts me in a double whammy position because I want a better draft pick, and I want Smith gone, and I want to beat the Saints. I can't have it all. I cannot have it all. So
Can't have it all.
Well,
no, that's gonna be it.
Hey, did you guys see that clip where the owner of the Panthers?
oh, you mean this?
Oh, just that you just happen to
man.
have it.
Let's see this thing. Where's he at?
It's coming up. This is courtesy of WRAL News.
This is Raleigh.
Yeah.
And that's the guy. It happens quick, so you got to watch it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Then he drops his ball.
Everybody's like, "What's up?"
What?
The
What's up?
anchors. What's trending? What?
Here it comes again.
One more time.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Oh, there, yeah.
Talk about. I'm sorry. I'm like,
Yeah. So
Let's go
that
cost
right
him
there,
$300,000.
huh? Yeah, that's a
Pocket-
$300,000 drink.
pocket change. Pocket
But this
change.
guy seems like he's kind of like on the unhinged side, loose cannon type people, because he's been through so many coaches the past couple of years. You know, mid-season firings and that kind of stuff, impatience.
Do you think he should be suspended?
Oh no, they're not going to suspend him now. You know,
If he was a player, he would get suspended.
he would get like life in prison.
Yeah.
I think some fans once got banned for life for doing something. I can't.
Well,
I remember
yeah.
hearing that.
Sure, yeah.
But it's like,
The deal about it is these guys are like, I own the team, I have money, but this was in Jacksonville. You know, he's a visitor, and
yes.
doing it doing that kind of stuff.
They could bar him from the stadium. Of course, they don't play each other probably again for like 3 or 4 seasons, so
They don't care.
Yeah.
No consequence. Huh?
Beyond the money, there'll be no consequences. There'll just be people, like just talking about it and saying what poor form it was, because you're supposed to set a higher example of decorum and that kind of thing. You can't go off like that.
Well, you should.
Oh yeah, you should.
Not necessarily supposed to. You should.
There's a reasonable expectation that you're going to, keep it together.
But
and not,
everybody does not act the way that we would think that they do. So
then I think are they 1 in 12?
They just don't.
Or are they 1 in 12? I think that has something to do with 1 in whatever their record is. They've only won.
They're 1 in 15 now, right? Yeah, one more game left. 1 in 15. I know Houston is in a dogfight, and one of their losses came to that was Carolina's
won 2 games this year.
2? Who else they beat?
Oh, please. Come on now.
I'm concerned about Will Bryce.
They beat the Titans 15-13, and they beat the Falcons 9-7 on a field goal with no time remaining.
Wow.
Yes. America's team does it again.
We're gonna have a lot of coaches changing jobs this year.
I know DC will be without one. Rivera, he's got to be gone. You would think Smith would be gone. The guy Carolina's on the interim basis. He'll be gone.
Vrabel in Nashville could be gone.
Yeah.
The Bears are playing better, but Eberflus could still.
But you know what? They clowned the Falcons last week, and that right there, when they got clowned, that would have been my owner's reason to fire the coach, because it was something like there was 4th and 1, and the Bears ran up to the line like they're about to run a play. The Falcons weren't ready, so the Falcons called a timeout. Bears never were going to run a play. You see the coach over there on the sideline snickering, and he sends the punt team out. He just wanted the Falcons to burn a timeout.
Wow.
And they did. He's over there laughing, grinning to one of his coaches about it. So it's like, yeah, you got played. You look crazy. You're fired.
Man, when the Bears tricky. Speaking of tricks, how about my Detroit Lions?
You know what?
Yeah.
As bad as that is, that they, I understand they're gonna demote those referees because of that play. Because I guess they misrefereed that whole thing. Because what is it, Ricky? They said, okay, before the game, your coach Campbell said, "Hey, look, 70 and 68, we're gonna run some plays with those guys. So look for them, okay?" And so they were like, bet back in the 80s, bet. So,
you know what, Ricky, I was gonna text you right before that and say, congratulations.
Yes.
And then I held back. And then I was like,
everybody in Detroit knows you always wait about 30 seconds when the Lions do something.
Right.
Because their flag, especially if they're down in Dallas. I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago, the Lions had Cowboys beat. They had called a pass interference. Stafford threw it to, I don't know, Calvin Johnson or somebody. And the guy just ran into him. You remember that play, Tim?
Yeah.
And they called a flag. They went and talked about it, picked the flag up. If they keep the flag, the Lions could just sit on the ball and run out of time. So they ended up having the punt, and the Cowboys beat them in a playoff game. But
this thing Saturday was like, you got the 2-point play, and then it was a penalty, and then they did a makeup call on the Cowboys, and then you guys, come on. Granted, you want to win. You play to win.
Kick the ball.
Kick it and go into overtime. The element of surprise is gone. You've done it twice.
Kick the ball.
Twice.
just kick it. Just kick it.
You know what?
Can I kick it? Can I kick it? Yes, I can.
The thing about Campbell, and this is where one of the things I really like about him is he got an edge to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's emotional. He gets those guys to play at a high level. But somebody needed to go to him. I know you pissed, man. Yeah, we got robbed, but we need to kick this.
Right.
We need to kick it. We will get them in overtime, but we need to kick that. But to me, the game shouldn't have gotten there because Derek Barnes had a dead beat on Dak Prescott in the first quarter for a safety. And he ran right by him.
He slipped out of that.
He ran right by him.
Yep.
And he said in the paper, he said, man, I want to deliver a knockout shot. Dude, just wrap the man up. And that's a 9-point play.
Right. Because they went down and got a 7. What was that, the 92-yard, what you call it?
That was a 92-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah.
That's 9 points right there. But Campbell's already said we want them again in the playoffs. So they're playing good ball, man. We got a good young team. And the thing about this team here in Detroit, they are young.
Oh yeah.
It's a young and a team coming up. And actually the defense is beginning to play better. They're getting some guys back now. So watch out for the line. It's still hard for me to say that, but they are. Watch out for the Lions. It's hard to say that.
You're young and you're built right. That's the thing about it. You made really great picks. Hutchinson, Gibbs, the tight end. What's the
Porter?
I mean, you got 3. Boom. Brandt's on the defensive back. Brandt. You got 4 guys you drafted that are huge impact people. Huge. And other teams can't say that.
Yeah. Hey, and the guy that's drafting them is a young brother, Brad Holmes from North Carolina A&T.
There you go.
Aggie Pride.
Yeah, yeah. Aggie Pride is in full effect. Hey, and you know, when the Lions took Gibbs at 12, they were sitting at 9, 8 or 9, and they drafted back. I mean, they traded back to where they were able to get Gibbs and Laporta for that pick. And people were like panning them because, whoa, you could have got Jalen Carter with the ninth pick. And Jalen has been a nice player. But I still think you could draft good running backs high. I think the guy the Falcons got is going to pay off.
If you use them right. If you use them right.
One thing about Gibbs, he's running behind a great offensive line. I mean,
right.
that helps there. It's still value in those playmakers, man. So I don't know, but it's going to be interesting. If I'm an Eagles fan, I'm worried about that team.
Yeah, they're on the downside. I mean, goodness, I never would have in a million years thought they lost to the Cardinals out in Arizona. Wouldn't have thought that at all. But
you didn't say that right.
Pardon me?
You didn't say it right. You wouldn't have thunk it.
I would not have thunk that for real.
Not have thunk it.
You know, winning and losing. I mean, you. It's such a tenuous thing. It's like some people can lose a million games in a row, but then they find that one nut, Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were
absolutely, and they had to catch a team. I think they were coming off a back-to-back,
right? Without their players,
and they played with desperation. They were just and got lucky and won a game.
Nobody wants to be part of history like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but before we leave the NFL, I think Tree mentioned Lamar Jackson earlier, and I think he is hands down the MVP of the league. What the Ravens have done to some of the top teams in the league this year is really remarkable.
Right. They beat the 49ers. That was a big deal.
They smashed the 49ers. They smashed the Lions 38-6. They whooped Miami over the weekend, 56-19. I mean,
they showed a graphic of Miami. They're like I said, they're like 10-5 against teams under 500, and 1-4 against teams with winning records. So they're like a paper lion. You know, they're not real. So they go get in the playoffs against teams that aren't the Sisters of the Poor. They're going to go up against a really stiff competition and get embarrassed probably. The champs of the AFC East.
Yeah, so we'll move on from there.
But we went to the NBA. But Christmas generally is the NFL lets the NBA have Christmas. I think I watched no basketball on Christmas, and I wish I had, because some of the fashions or some of those cats that came through the locker, through the tunnel, is just enough to make me want to watch the game. And I know we got some looks. Okay.
Love it.
I think Aaron got him.
Aaron Gordon, you think so?
Yeah, I like the black. I like the black on there.
Yeah, because I think those black shoes on Steph don't do it.
Yeah.
I think the light color shoes work. Tree, you fashionista?
I'm thinking the black. What's he wearing? Sneakers on the right? I think maybe he had on black shoes. I don't know. It's competition. It's a Barbie.
And I like the black mock too. That's kind of a mock. Is that a mock? A turtleneck? Yeah.
No, I don't know. I can't really tell.
Yeah.
What that is, but I love how they come into the tunnel with their varied fashions. Sometimes shorts. Sometimes no telling what. That was courtesy of ESPN, right? Is that ESPN Instagram account? Yeah.
There you go. That's right there. That is dual confidence.
That's a who wore it best moment right there.
Who wore it best. And that is all about, we early for Easter. So, because we bring
Yeah, I
out the
don't like
best
that.
fans at Easter.
No, because he wore a black turtleneck or something underneath.
That's right.
So
No, it'd be a little bit more
if
colorful.
if it was, maybe they're giving tribute to Barbie. I don't know. That was big.
If that was it, either that or they got both of them got gigs with Pepto Bismol. One of them. So
Wow. Wow. I didn't see
But
that.
you mentioned something, Tim. Did you guys watch much of the in-season tournament?
I couldn't get past the floor. That was distracting
yeah,
for me.
I was having
I
seizures
watched
looking at
some.
the floors. I could not do that.
I couldn't, but that's how you knew what you were watching. But yeah, I asked my husband, I said, what's up with these floors? And, explained it to me.
How you doing,
But
Yeah, I think they're going to tame those floors down a
I
little bit
don't
next year.
know.
Well, they got to do something to make they put the floors in so people would know, okay, this game is different
Mm-hmm.
from a regular season game, and some of it was just just a bit much.
Yeah,
But
and the Hawks
it
had this
just,
kind of blue thing going on. I'm like, their colors are red, gold, and white. What's up with the electric blue, scary floor? And then the
but it got
jerseys.
your attention. You remember it. It got your
It did.
attention.
And guess what? I was just like that. See with the remote. I'm not going to go blind watching this for 4 quarters.
I would say marketing, but I don't even know how a different color is
Right.
marketing for
I had on blue and
the
black
team.
jersey uniforms. I'm like, that's somebody, that's Duke. I don't know what they're trying to implement.
I mean, I think we've been flooded with. I'm an NBA fan for sure, but not. I just, it's too much football going on in the fall. After football, January, February, I'll start getting more into the NBA season. We'll have the trade deadline come up in February. Actually, it was a trade last week. The Knicks made a deal for Anunoby from Toronto. So the teams we're going to see in April really aren't playing together yet, because everybody who thinks they need to make a move are going to make a move to try to bring in some help. So,
But do you think the players will? What am I trying to say? They'll start playing harder, knowing that $500,000 is on the line.
Depends on how much.
Go ahead, Tim.
I think it depends on your own pocketbook. I mean, there are cats who are the 12th man on the team. That 500,000 probably a couple of years worth of salary, where that's probably what LeBron makes in a week. Yeah, it's just the motivation. How much the money is.
Actually, I watched that the game that whatever the championship, it was the Lakers and somebody. And after the game, LeBron talked about that. He said, "We're happy for these guys who aren't making the kind of money we're making." So he said, "This is big for them."
That's true.
And that, to be able to do that and put money in their pocket was a motivation for us, because even the losing team got $250,000. So not chump change at all. Hey, I want to go back to the college game right quick, because an interesting story came out of Tallahassee, where Coach Willie Simmons has decided to step down and take an assistant job at Duke. And he says he speaking at to HBCU game day, he said, "Throughout my coaching career, I've checked many boxes. I've been a play caller. I've been a head coach. I've won a championship. I've put guys in the NFL. We've recruited at a high level. We've done a lot of things, and I've checked a lot of boxes on my resume. But the one thing he has not done is become a head coach on a Power 5 school." looking at my career, I want ultimately for that to be my career, to have that platform on a national stage, to lead men, to have a voice that resonates throughout college football, not just the HBCU landscape. I think this was a pivotal step for me to take, and that's why we're taking it. And he went on to say, you had Willie Jeffries and Jay Hobson make that move. And, of course, most recently, Deion Sanders. But he said there's only one Deion Sanders. And I totally get his decision, Tree and Tim, because I think when people looking for coaches, they look at the HBCU game and they don't see quality football.
Well, I'm in agreement on that because I was thinking about when I covered the SWAC for 5 years, and Jackson State won the SWAC, I think, every year I was there. And every year they were one and done on the NCAA playoffs because they were better coached. And I mean, they were coached up, but the idea is these guys the other guys always were a little bit step faster, a step smarter in terms of things. I've seen them getting played by trick plays, just by counters, by stuff like that, where HBCU guys are really fast and strong, and they hit and they attack. But it seems like they're really emotional in the regards to that. They can be fooled. They go real hard to the ball, and they're not coached to stay in their lanes or whatever that deal is. And you see that some. And then you see some really great coaches, like the DB coaches at Alcorn, who were putting 4 and 5 guys, first-round picks, into the NFL. I see what Coach Simmons was talking about. Fam was outstanding last year. Fam was awesome. But he wants to be a Power 5 coach. At the same time, I think also money has something to do with it, too.
I was going to say, money's not bad. That Duke money's going to be pretty good.
I mean, he's going to make $500,000, I think, as an assistant. He and Manny Diaz worked together somewhere else before this. But, making $500,000, and that wasn't what he was making as a head coach at FAM. And they were putting out real big push to try to raise the money to keep him. But if his aspiration was to go Power 5, they could have matched it. He still would have gone to Duke.
No, it's a good move for him if he wants to advance, for sure.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, but I think we talked about it. We talked about it here numerous times, and I think the last time my friend Earl Kitchens was on, let's just do what we do at our level, and have the Celebration Bowl and the CIAA and maybe the SIAC can do something. I think they are playing each other now, aren't they?
They played a championship game down. They played one out in Florida, the CIAA and SIAC. It's like, the other Celebration Bowl, because you have the SWAC and the MEAC.
I wish they would just try to combine that game, which we've talked about. But that one thing, HBCU, if you watch all of last night's championship games and the halftime show,
don't even start.
HBCU bands still kick ass.
I didn't notice that, and I believe
Alabama's $1 million band. I tell you, I was really taken aback that I actually saw Black people in Alabama's $1 million band. I mean, I know they are there.
Yeah. I know a sister with the high school with me was in the band.
How hard it was teaching them brothers and sisters to step like that with no
precision.
Some of the tunes that you can see where Southern has influenced bands around the Southeast. Their LSU. Music, because you could hear LSU. Southern came to play Georgia. Georgia ripped off some of their songs up here. So it's like and I heard the song. One of the songs I heard yesterday in the game in the Rose Bowl. I'm like, man, we can't hear nothing.
Up here, Michigan State comes out they take the field like FAMU with the fast-paced entrance,
Really?
the dazzling, high-stepping, 100, whatever
Didn't
they
that
say
start
they
with
do.
Morris Brown in Atlanta, though? Did Morris
But,
Brown
but
used to
for
do
whatever reason, it doesn't look as good as when FAM does it.
that? You remember Morris Brown used to do that?
I think so.
I
Either
think
that or
they,
the people.
I think they
either
created it.
it was Morris Brown or Drumline. I get confused.
It was Morris Brown. I think they created that. They used to run out in a particular
Yeah.
way.
They did
Well,
real fast, good
that
choppy
invented
steps. Yeah.
Tennessee State has used it over the years.
Back
But-
in my day.
But FAM has kept its traditions for 40, 50 years. They're going to do that 20th century fanfare. And they're going to do that every time, which a lot of their old heads really like. So HBCU still has something. But back to Coach Simmons, we totally get that. And it's going to be interesting to see. We have to get Earl Kitchens on because Earl will probably have some insight on who takes that job because that's one of the best jobs in Black college football.
Well, it was. I would love to see Steve McNair get a job because it seems like whatever's going on with Texas Southern.
What is going on with that?
Well, they can't. Board of Regents, Board of Trustees twice have not been able to secure the man, and he's already left Alcorn. Alcorn's already hired a guy. They hired from within, so he's out there left hanging because he thought he had a gig in Houston, which is really sad.
And doesn't Texas Southern know that recruiting's going on right now?
Hey, dude, don't talk to me about that. Morehouse doesn't have a football coach. And recruiting, they'd already had the first recruiting thing. How are you going to recruit players if you don't have a coach?
Yeah.
So, you move swiftly in those things.
That's on the administration, and then this guy's whomever comes into Texas Southern and Morris Brown, man, they are already 10 laps behind everybody.
They are.
I mean, you guys
Money.
know how
They need money.
they're going to be recruiting
Money.
and trying to hit this transfer portal, and maybe we should touch on that before we get out of here, because there will be a lot of people left over in that portal every year. Not these big name guys that we're talking about, like
Sure.
Dante Moore, who was I think the number 1 and number 2 quarterback prospect in the country last year. Went to UCLA. He committed.
Right.
He's from Detroit. Committed to Oregon. Went to UCLA. Played a year at UCLA. Now he's transferring to Oregon.
It's jacked up. But look at this kid. What is it? DJ Ugalele. He was. He played at Clemson. Then went out to Oregon. I think he went out to Oregon. Oregon State, and now he's gonna head back to that ACC, and he's gonna go to Florida State. I mean, this dude's transfer portal. I mean, at what point did we get an education? We can't be back. All these credits transfer. Are we even picking up credits? What's up? That's 3 different schools in 3 different years. What's up?
Right.
What are your parents? Where are the parents in this?
What are their parents thinking?
Where are they?
Is that what you're asking, Tim?
Yeah, where are they in this? It's like, moving around. It's like, go to school here, go to school there, go to school there. Here you are, I guess, with a senior, and you're in your third school, junior, your third school.
Yeah.
It's not about that at that point. I think it's about trying to get to
The next
your
level.
next level of play.
Yeah.
Do you think we're headed to where they're going to say, you know what, don't even worry about the academics. This is just.
I think they're already doing that, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, but they're just going to officially say, okay, these guys are here to play athletics, and academics is a choice.
But it's stopping the pretense of that because it's all about big money. These guys, whatever they're making in NIL, it's nowhere near the money that the schools are making and the networks are making off of these guys.
Right. Yeah,
these are just pittances. It's nothing that's massive, unless you like somebody. I saw a graphic the other day where I think Arch Manning, who's a backup, who was the 3rd string quarterback at Texas, he was a backup. made $2.6 million NIL money last year.
How much is
And
that? How much?
2.6. Whereas Purdy, the quarterback for the 49ers, made $800,000 this year.
Yeah.
Can you give me one of those deals? What sport can I start playing?
Here in here in Michigan, Hunter Dickinson, who was a really good player, 7-footer at University of Michigan, 7-1 center, transferred for his senior year, and it was because of his NIL money. He transferred from Ann Arbor to Kansas, going to a great program. Plus, he's going to make more money. I mean, hey.
And I think too, some of the students, may be needing to look after, their families.
That's exactly it. You're thinking
And
some of these kids, these are the cash cows right here. We're pulling
let's say the breadwinners. Let's say the breadwinners.
Breadwinners
of the family, a cash cow. It sounds so, I don't know.
Man, I tell you, this is where we are. And Tree, I think you said it before on the show. There's no going back. It's just
can't put that genie back in the bottle.
Yeah, it's just where this is all going in. Hey, guys, we have gone over our time tonight, but it's good to be back. And looking forward to having a great 24. By the time we're on next week, we'll have a national champion. We'll have a NFL playoff schedule. And who knows what else? And I can also guarantee we'll have more transfers.
We'll have a few more transfers going into the portal.
Yes. So we have a lot to talk about next week.
Yeah. So for my friend Tim Turner and Tree McDougal, I'm Rick Hampton.
All right. Be kind, everybody. See you next week.
Peace.